Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Behind the Blocks. I'm your host, two-time Olympian and four-time Olympic medalist, Kaitlin Sandeno. Be sure to follow us on social media at Kaitlin Sandeno and at Wisp Sports. Before we hear from this week's guests, a word from our sponsors. Dive into summer and enjoy it to the fullest. Cheer on your family Olympians and keep the members of your team diving, swimming, and just having summer fun with Highlands Earache Drops. Highlands wants to make sure your summer fun isn't ruined by ear pain. Highlands Earache Drops provide natural relief from pain, fever, irritability, and occasional sleeplessness associated with earaches. Highlands has been trusted by generations to provide safe, homeopathic medicines for everyone in your family. After you've been diagnosed by a physician, try Highlands homeopathic earache drops or tablets. Earache drops are available at CVS stores. To learn more, go to highlands.com/ear. That's HYLANDS. Highlands.com/ear. Claims are based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence. Not FDA evaluated. Always read and follow label directions. I'm thrilled to be joined today by reigning NCAA Women's Swimmer of the Year, Beata Nelson. Beata had a very impressive club career before heading to the University of Wisconsin, where she had an outstanding college reign, but an unfortunate ending to her final NCAAs as they were canceled due to COVID-19. Nevertheless, Beata's impressive accolades consist of 3-time NCAA champ, 7-time All-American, 5 Big Ten championship titles, American, U.S. Open, NCAA, school record holder, and the only American to break 50 seconds in the 100-yard backstroke 6 times. And that's just a brief overview. Beata, welcome to Behind the Blocks. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, it's so fun to connect. Okay, first off, just straight off the bat, how are you doing and how are you spending your days? I know this is obviously a very bizarre time, but especially for athletes being out of their typical routine, how are you holding up?
Yeah, it's obviously a change of pace. Things have kind of slowed down. Obviously, there's no pool access where I'm at, so I'm spending most of my days just finishing up school. I have about 2 weeks left of my college academics, which is really exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, for a little break from school. But yeah, I've just been doing a lot of land cardio, a little bit of running, a little bit of biking, some at-home body strength circuits that my coaches have been giving to us to do to keep active during this period of no swimming. But it's been a lot to process. Every day is kind of, you take it as it comes, and some days are better than others. And that's just kind of where we're at right now. So
absolutely. Now, do you enjoy those land workouts? I know a lot of swimmers just really like to be in the water and the water only. How do you do on land?
I do okay. I manage.
Good.
It's definitely not my favorite. I absolutely am like dying for the water right now. I would like swim in a bathtub if that were even practical. Like I don't even care. I like drove by the lake the other day on my way down here, and I was like, could I just like go swim there? Like it's probably disgusting, but I just want to swim and feel it again. But I'm managing. I'm pretty prone to injury on land, so we're just trying to be super careful of not causing anything that would inhibit my ability to get back to swimming once that kind of starts up again. So just taking it easy and making sure I get the work I need done. But I miss the pool for sure.
Absolutely. Now, are you spending most time on campus, or are you at your parents', or where are you spending the majority of your time right now?
Yeah, for the last 3 weeks. So once like NCAA's was done, it was canceled. We kind of like had to figure out a game plan. Most of the team just took their time to, adjust to being back at home, wherever that may be for them. And there was a pool open for about 2 weeks, but it was in Milwaukee. So me and my good friend Allie McHugh, who's a pro who swims here, took the trip every day down to Milwaukee. And then when the state order for stay at home came down, we had no choice, and that pool closed. And so we both kind of went our separate ways. She's in PA right now, and I went home to about 25 minutes off of university campus where my family lives. And I've been there, but I'm kind of transitioning back to downtown to kind of finish up classes and just try and get a little bit of change of scenery to try and make it through these strange times. But yeah.
I can't help but imagine having, that distraction or that task at hand of graduating in 2 weeks. That's got to be a little bit helpful right now.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm kind of sad I'm not in more credits, if I'm being super honest. It was nice during the swim season I'm only in half of a full semester because I only needed 3 credits to graduate, and I added on another 3 because I was like, I might as well keep myself a little bit busy. And so now I'm like, geez, I wish I had more to do because I have so much time on my hands. But, they're both classes that are pretty easy to do online. I have one that's a lecture twice a week that I actually have to meet in person on a video chat with my class. It's only 12 people. And then the rest of it's just I don't know, working through that and trying my best to get good grades as I finish college, which isn't too bad with only 2 courses to finish.
Awesome. Well, an early congratulations to you. I know that's going to be quite the feat to celebrate. At least you have, those good vibes coming your way. But I just can't imagine that emotional roller coaster that you had to have experienced coming to, the end of your senior year, coming off such a great NCAAs your junior year, getting all fired up, ready to go. And then obviously with the pandemic hitting and NCAAs getting, canceled, basically it was the week you were supposed to leave, right?
It was the Thursday before we were going to leave on Sunday. So it was 3 days before we were supposed to go.
I couldn't even imagine. Do you mind kind of talking us through that and what that was like for you emotionally and how you're coping with that afterwards and just kind of how you mentally move on?
Yeah. It's definitely difficult. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I was really devastated when we got the news because I had some huge goals for NCAAs, and I had not shaved. I was wearing an old suit at conference. I was not rested. I was there to score points for my team and have fun and, do what I could to contribute to our team success and our program's legacy. But, I wanted to go to NCAAs and kind of break barriers that I realized were in my grasp last year. So, the roller coaster of emotions that happened leading into NCAAs as it is without the pandemic is kind of crazy. You go through who am I racing against? Am I going to be all right? I don't feel so great. This paper is making me feel strange. Am I going to perform well? And, the pressure of, I had such a great meet last year. What is this year going to be? And, I had worked through all of that and was getting so excited to race and just go out and have fun and finish off my career with some great ladies. And, we got a text from head coach Yuri, and he was like, hey, we will not be getting in the pool. We will be having a team meeting at 2:00. We'll see you there. And we had obviously seen that the NBA had canceled their season, and we were like, oh geez, what does this mean for our meet? If professional sports aren't continuing, how are we going to be affected by this? And we were supposed to do pace that day. I was super excited. I had coffee in me. I had Norma text my legs. I was ready to go. And Coach Yuri was like, yeah, so the Big Ten has suspended and canceled all competition and season for the remainder of spring.
Ugh.
And I was just I was honestly just in shock at first. I wasn't processing it.
I'm sure.
And then it kind of hit me that it meant that I wouldn't be swimming NCAAs. I didn't know what the foreseeable future was going to be like. It was just it came out of nowhere to me, because I was just trying my best and with my coaches and teammates to act as if everything was normal, even though things weren't normal. And so I was really upset. I had some really great moments with my coaches after. They just like, I don't know. I think they knew what I wanted to achieve at NCAA's as a meet, and just hoped I could finish my college career that the way that they wanted and the way that I wanted. And we were all pretty heartbroken. And I had a few seniors there with me, boys and girls. We were just kind of sat together and were like, wow, like these last 4 years just kind of like came to an abrupt close, and we didn't really have time to process. So it's been weird. I've had days where like, I think the first 2 weeks after, I kind of just like pretended it didn't happen and just moved on with life and just tried to live each day and, you know, be okay with it and realize the gravity of the situation. And, you know, it's easy to put in perspective when I have a mom who has like who is at high risk to not be able to fight off something like COVID if she contracted it herself. So it's like, you know, it's easy when you're around people and you're like, okay, imagine if my family was affected by this, like no event, no medal, no race, nothing is worth that. So that was it. And then there are certain days where I kind of like reminisce and like look back at pictures or videos, or, you know, somebody says something and it kind of triggers me and realizes that like, I'm not gonna have that moment, or I'm not going to walk at my graduation, or I'm not going to swim at Olympic trials this summer. Like there's so many things that like I was looking forward to that aren't going to happen. But we all know that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just putting it in perspective about how serious this really is, and realizing that I am lucky enough to continue my career professionally in the sport, and that swimming is not over for me.
Well, I mean, everything you just said, it gave me the chills. It's like heartbreaking. I can't even imagine what I would be like in that situation. But the part that really got me is when you're speaking about your mom. Obviously, we both have moms that have very compromised immune systems. And I think you just really nailed it. You know, it's bigger picture. It's more than a swimmy. It's more than the medals. And when we take that big picture perspective, I think that helps us cope, right? We can move on to what's next. So speaking of what's next, how is that game plan coming together now with your coaches? Now, is it all eyes set forward on Olympic trials, or do you guys have something else, or maybe you don't want to share? So what is it that your goal is going to be moving forward?
Yeah, I right now its focus is on, you know, I am committed to be a part of the ISL moving forward.
So cool.
Which is super exciting. And that's something I'm looking forward to. But I think obviously my mindset now that my collegiate season is done is to try and make an impact more on the world stage. And my next opportunity for that is Olympic trials. So, you know, my coaches and I have been communicating it, you know, back and forth. And obviously we don't have time in the pool right now, but we're just trying to prepare mentally and get strong enough to be ready for when pools are open to put our shift and mindset there. So I'm super excited. I was kind of building a little bit of momentum, long course training. And I had a really great meet this past year. And I was getting excited for Olympic trials, but now I'm a little bit even more excited because our new facility will be finished and I'll have almost a full year in a long course facility, which I have not had for a very long time.
Right.
So it's super exciting. You know, it's obviously changes the game plan, it changes the timeline, but it actually works in my favor to just get a little bit more time training long course before the meet happens. So
I love that. And that's something that I've been, you know, speaking to swimmers about. It's like, if you can just focus on the positive and what you just said, you have another year to get better. You have another year to prepare. And I feel like if we just change that mind shift, you know, the mind is so powerful, that can be kind of that silver lining, trying to find that silver lining moving forward. But before we move forward, I would be remiss not to, I mean, we got to take a trip down memory lane to your junior NCAAs, because, oh my goodness, that was like an incredible, mind-blowing meet where you sweep all three of your individuals, the 200 IM, the 100 back, the 200 back, the second fastest performance ever in the 200 IM, broke every record in the books for the 100 back, broke the NCAA record in the 200 back. I mean, my goodness, Beata, what was that? How was that emotional high? I mean, I feel like that just had been the most incredible experience of your college career, not to put words in your mouth, but I feel like any swimmer would look at that and be like, dang, I wish I could have gone through that.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that was a really special weekend for me. I think I can attribute it a lot to the support system I had around me and the mentality I had going into the meet. I think the last year, the year before my sophomore season, I had a great NCAA meet. You know, I was All-American in all 3 races. I just missed out on an NCAA title in the 100 backstroke by like 0.1 or something. And you know, I watched Ella Easton break the American record in the 200 AM, and I was like, how in the world could somebody go a 150 in the 200 AM? That's insane, right?
Absolutely.
I watched Kaitlin Baker break 148 and break the NCAA record in the 200 backstroke. And I was like, are we kidding? Like, who are these people around me? And then I came back, you know, I was pretty intimidated. The year before, my freshman year, I obviously wasn't in physical or mental shape to be competitive early in college swimming, but you learn from it, and I'm really grateful I had the opportunity to grow. And I don't think I would have been where I was my sophomore year if it hadn't been for my freshman year. And so I was like, wow, I'm making so many steps, but I was so intimidated by those girls. I didn't really felt like I belonged. I felt like I needed to like prove myself that I belonged to be there. And my junior year, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go to this meet and have fun. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to go out there and remember why I swim, because I love to race. And so I don't think there was even a moment where like I got, you know, nerves are obviously expected at a meet like that. I was channeling them into excitement, and there was never a moment where I was having self-doubt. There was never a moment where I was like, I'm afraid of this or I'm scared. You know, I ripped a suit like 10 minutes before I swam the 100 backstroke, and I didn't even blink an eye. It was the weirdest thing. My coaches were like
freaking
I don't know. It was crazy. The first night was totally unexpected. You know, I went into the 200 IM just hoping to keep in the race. You know, I had been swimming really well in that event the whole year, and I won a best time at Big Tens, and I was like, wow, 152 is a great time. Like, I'm super excited. I can be competitive, and I mean, that was a best time by like almost 2 seconds. So it was really just, I attribute that to who I was racing against and me fighting as hard as I can, and just, I don't know, having fun and being excited and letting the adrenaline kind of take control. I kind of blacked out during that race because I didn't know where I was. I looked behind me and Ella's like head is behind my feet. And I was like, what is going on? Like, get to the wall. Yeah, it was crazy. And I rode that momentum the whole way. I was dancing, laughing. I had the best roommate. One of my really good friends and teammates, Lily Hosak, was my roommate at that meet, and she did such an awesome job at just like making the environment fun. And that's so important, is to just like enjoy yourself at those meets, you know, because a lot of the hoopla of the meet can kind of get to you. You know, you're racing against the fastest girls in the country who you've seen swim fast through meet results or through video or through word of mouth, but you're like there with them, and everybody swims so differently, and you never know what's going to happen at those meets. If somebody is going to, you know, swim faster than their seed time or slower than their seed time, you just kind of had to focus on yourself. And I did a really great job at just swimming my own race. Like, one of my favorite races I've ever swum, like just from watching it back and just seeing how well I swam my own race, was the 200 backstroke, because I was losing that race.
The last 50.
Like the 150 maybe. I was still flipping behind Taylor into the last 50 of the race.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I mean, it was really cool because like normally I I think in previous years, or just like time past, I probably would have freaked out and like gone out too fast and maybe not had the legs to hold on. But I swam that race down to the kicks, down to arm strokes, down to like the smallest details, the way that I knew I could execute it. And I got my hand there first. And it was so cool to just be like, you know, all the time my coaches say, like, focus on your race plan, focus on your execution, focus on the, like, that is so key, because if you focus on what someone else is doing, you can't control that. So you're just throwing off everything you've practiced and planned. So I don't know. I was in awe of like myself, like looking back at how well I handled that meet to be able to like keep the focus and, you know, finish it the way that I did. And I'm really glad, even though I don't get my senior NCAAs, that I got to finish with a meet like that as like my capstone for like all the work and practice and time put in during my college career, to kind of have a meet that I get to remember like that. So
If you could see me right now, I have the biggest smile on my face, because I swear, like, you're saying everything that when I think of my favorite meet, it was the 2004 Olympics, and I had the same mentality. It was like, okay, I'm here to have fun. I'm grateful to be here. The last couple of years have not gone well. Just enjoy yourself and just like remember why you did the sport. And then I always kind of like my give back to other young athletes is like, you can't control the uncontrollables. Like what other people are doing, just do your own thing and stay in your own lane. And it's like everything you're saying is like everything that I experienced at like, I call it like my fairy tale swim meet, you know? So hearing that is just so refreshing. And I think it's something that, you know, the younger generation needs to hear more often, but also current swimmers or current athletes, because a lot of times we forget why we started the sport, or we let the outside nerves creep in or other people's voices creep in. And when we just stick to why we're doing it and enjoying it. So I'm just over here loving everything you're saying. And it just reminds me so much of like my fairy tale swim meet. And then another similarity that I think we both share is that we both had success at a young age. And I would love to talk to you about that, because, you know, I feel like that's challenging. I mean, when you were in high school, you were breaking national high school records and state titles and doing really impressive things. And then you come into your freshman year with all these expectations. How was that like for you? Did you feel overwhelmed, stressed? I mean, you're coming in to Wisconsin, kind of like, you know, big dog on campus, already being so accomplished at such a young age. How did you handle that transition?
I'm gonna be straight up. I'm not. I didn't handle it very well. It was tough.
It's hard.
Yeah. I had a lot of things going on in my life at the time. I mean, high school was really, you know, my senior year of high school. I mean, I was obviously really competitive and elite at like a high school level, but once I hit my senior year, I kind of realized that I could make an impact in college, like immediately, wherever I would go. And so that's a lot of pressure. And I think, you know, SwimSwam does its rankings and all these things. And I think I fed into that a little too much and thought like I was disappointing so many people, or disappointing all these expectations that everybody had for me. And, you know, I've realized that you have to understand that circumstance isn't always going to be ideal. You know, I was 130 pounds coming into college. My mom had just been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. I was just a mess. Well, I think that like I was a little bit out of control in the way that like I just kept relying on trying to please other people or get validation that I was doing okay, and like nothing was working out because I wasn't swimming for the love of the sport. I wasn't swimming for myself. I wasn't swimming for anything but just feeling like I belonged somewhere. And that is just, it's a horrible feeling because you never feel full. You never feel like you're really accomplishing anything because all you're trying to do is get acceptance and, you know, approval from people who aren't necessarily willing to give it to you. And two, like if you're not doing it for yourself, you're never going to be successful, in the sense that like you're never going to actually be confident enough or proud of who you are to just like be okay with where you're at. So, you know, it was a horrible year for me. But I'm not afraid to talk about it because, as I said before, like, I really don't think I would be who I am or have learned the things I have without having gone through a period of like darkness or a period of what some people may consider failure on my part of swimming. I think like those are some things that if you don't accept and you don't work through and you don't understand, they can kind of follow you everywhere. And I like wasn't willing to let that continue to be my story. And so I kind of let that just be a stepping stone into where I've kind of taken myself as a person and as an athlete. And you know, I think it's cool you said like the last couple years haven't gone very well and now I'm just gonna have fun. Like you have to recognize like those years were years of growth and learning, and like they sucked and I didn't enjoy, you know, losing or not being as great as I wanted to be, but like maybe I wouldn't be where I am or have achieved that fairy tale meet if I had never gone through what I did. So, you know, it's all a learning process. It's all about growth. I kind of just take everything that comes my way that seems to be a challenge as an opportunity to grow. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I so appreciate you being so raw and so honest and so open. And again, it's very, very similar. Same thing with me. Freshman year just did not go well. And things weren't happening in the right direction for me, and put on some weight and things were hard, but then we figure it out. Right. And then you learn and then you get better. And, you know, I keep pulling these similarities we have, but something that we're not very similar with, I am talking to the 2019 Student Athlete of the Year at Wisconsin. I mean, Beata, that's super impressive. I was not the best academic student. I mean, I got by, but to get Student Athlete of the Year, I mean, that's so impressive. Congratulations to you. I would love to hear your advice for younger athletes or even athletes in college right now, how to manage being a student athlete. What is your words of wisdom?
It's hard to balance. It takes time. I think you have to be patient and learn the ways that work best for you to be able to manage everything. You know, my advice is like pretty general just because it's hard for me to give advice to people who are in, you know, everybody studies differently, everybody manages stress differently, everybody needs a certain amount of sleep or a certain amount of nutritional needs for their own individual success. But I just learned to like, one, surround myself with people who have similar priorities and desires as me so that I can be kept on the right track. And the people, you know, everybody says like you're kind of a reflection of like who you surround yourself with. So I make sure I'm around people who, one, support what I'm doing, and two, have very similar goals, because it makes it really easy to reach mine when the people around me are also doing the same. I think it's hard in college to navigate that, to try and find the right crowd, but I think obviously having a team helps because it just kind of gives you people who are already kind of working towards that, and just find the people who you click with best. I would say to utilize your resources. If you go to university like I do, the University of Wisconsin provides like tremendous amounts of resources to its athletes. And I tried to take advantage of every single possible resource or additive that they were allowing athletes to have. And I engulfed myself in like student athlete organizations, you know, initiatives, things that I'm passionate about to keep my excitement for just like living alive, because it can get really hard during a long swim season when all you're thinking about is like going to practice and doing this. Like if you can keep yourself occupied with things you enjoy, that makes it a lot easier. And I would also say, as much as I shouldn't advocate for this because I'm really bad at sleeping, I would just prioritize like recovery. I think you can't focus in class, you can't focus at practice, you can't focus doing anything if you are not rested and your body is not recovered. I did a really good job at just finding a nutritional plan for myself that kept me energized and you know, helped me recover. I worked a lot with my strength and conditioning coach, who is like a super crazy, he used to do CrossFit, now he does jujitsu. He's like the most fun, fit dude in the world. We kind of worked on certain things that he saw improvements in my performance in the weight room, or he saw opportunity for me to kind of grow strength. And that was really key to a lot of my growth, not just in the pool or like in the weight room, but just in general, being excited and happy and energy filled. So that's my advice, I guess. I could go on and on about it.
It's so impressive, though. I mean, seriously, I mean, we know what a task at hand that is, because you have so much expectations to be performing in the pool and then performing in the classroom. And then you want a social life. And then it's like, hey, I got to do laundry. And then, you touched on the nutrition and the sleeping. And there's just so many aspects that go into it. And I just think it's an accomplishment in itself to not only be able to swim or do a sport in college, but then you get your degree. One of my proudest moments is like, yeah, I'll think about like my swimming accomplishments, but I'm like, I graduated from USC. Like, wow, like I did it, and it wasn't an easy ride. And I definitely had my struggles, but I'm really proud of that. And I think, the insight that you share, I mean, the sleep just being so, so important, because that's, I think, something that's so hard in college, right? You have the morning workouts and the social life and whatnot, but I think you have awesome tidbits and so much that people can pull from. And like I said, congratulations on that huge honor. That's a big one, I think, in my opinion. So for our final question, Beata, this is the fun one. So the podcast is called Behind the Blocks. What's your behind the blocks routine? What are you like behind the blocks? Do you have any superstitions, ritual? What would we find Beata doing behind the blocks?
Total ritual gal.
Oh, I love it.
I've done the same like movements behind the blocks, all timed out to like which I started to, like, it's funny. It's really, I've learned to be more flexible about it as I've gone about, because like we're never going to run the same way that like they do in like a dual meet setting at like a US Open or at Olympic trials, or, there's so many different factors that change your like plan of action before you start racing. So it's become more flexible, but I do the same thing. I like jump up in the air in a streamline, bend down to touch my toes, like, what else do I do? It's so funny. It's like 2 heats before I race, I'll start like doing it. And then I'll like bend down on the block and like stretch my arms, and then I'll stretch one leg up, stretch the other leg up. It's hilarious.
Wait, has this been since like high school, or when did this start, or even before then?
Oh yeah. Club. Like, I literally don't even remember when it started or why it started, but I'm sure what happened was I did this weird like routine, and then I swam really fast and associated it with me swimming fast, and so now that's all I do.
That's so fun. We have our things, right?
Yeah, I like to actually I've gotten more keen into like talking to my like competitors behind the blocks. We become like friends, and a lot of like, especially at the conference level and even at NCAA's last year, I just like chatted with like people behind the blocks, or like, as before we walked out to go behind the blocks, and just it made the atmosphere and like the nerves that anybody feels about like, oh, I don't know this girl, but she's really fast. Like once you create this community of swimming, like it's so fun, because everyone's out there just like trying to compete and race. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to beat this person. It's like, I'm obviously want to win, but like we're all out here trying to do the same thing, and like we all realize like we've all put in the work. It's just super cool to like create relationships. I have become really close with a few girls that I raced against at NCAA's last year. Like Amy Bilquist and I just became like super like close friends all the time, like on Instagram or whatever else, like just stuff. But she's like, I would have never had that relationship if I wasn't like brave enough to just like speak to her, or she wasn't brave enough to just like say hi to me and create a relationship. So,
well, you just queued me up perfectly, because she's our next guest. I love that.
yes, I love it.
I know. And it's funny. I was the same way. I was kind of chatty behind the blocks or in the ready room, but then once you get out there, it's time to go. But yeah, you're so right. I mean, you have this community of people that, yeah, we have the same goals and we want to win, but we're, all putting in so much hard work. And it's like that level of respect, right? Like, you're like, I want to beat you, but I respect you. And, it's that community and those teammates and those friendships that are just going to last forever and ever. And I just love it. I love everything that you had to say. I think I'm getting to know you more and more. And I just like, gosh, she's like a mini me. We have so many similarities. I just love it. And I can't thank you enough for being on our show today and being so raw and so honest and so open and just full of like so much. You have such great insight, and that's so refreshing. And thank you for being my guest. I'm wishing you all the best. Please stay safe and healthy, and I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, Kaitlin. You're the best.
Oh, thank you. And that is our show this week. Thanks again to Beata Nelson for being my special guest, and to our sponsors, Highlands Earache Drops. Please visit them at highlands.com/ear. Don't forget to follow and share on social media at Kaitlin Sandeno and wisports.com. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with NCAA and Pac-12 champ Amy Bilquist. So until then, thanks for listening and helping us turn up the volume on women's sports.